Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, brought to you as always by the great folks over at Zephyr Epic. You can use promo code Hockey Season, capital H, capital S, all one word, Hockey Season. That will get you $5 off your order at Zephyr Epic. If you choose to shop online, you're going to want to visit zephyrepic.com. That is ZEPHYR epic.com. If you want to shop in person, visit them at their retail location in Surrey, British Columbia. Get yourself some hockey cards, but whatever your trading card needs, Zephyr Epic has got you covered. Be sure to check them out on all social media platforms. They got a lot of good stuff there. My co-host, Chris Faber, has opened a pack of hockey cards, courtesy of our friends at Zephyr Epic. My name's Dave Quadrelli, and Aaron Bordato is our technical producer. Let's open these cards.
How good are the Washington Capitals, whatever, like an Eagle jersey? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful jersey. I bet that Washington has I'm just guessing this. I have a feeling that they're very similar feeling to those jerseys as Canucks fans are to the black skate jerseys. And I got a beautiful card in here. Alternate threads as the Canucks face the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight.
Did you pull an Ovechkin there?
I did, just a base card Ovechkin, but I've got a Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman, Andrei Vasilevsky alternate threads in one of their throwback jerseys as well. Canucks will face off against the Lightning at 4:00 today.
Steven Stamkos will be back in the lineup. Andrei Vasilevsky will not. We'll get into that in a bit here, but look at that card for me.
Oh, that's fun.
Stars of the Rink, Alex Ovechkin. That's a shiny looking card.
Tell you what, these MVP boxes from Upper Deck, they sucked in the previous years. They sucked. There was just like a base one. It was the first set of the year. It's basically just like the basic cards to get you. They've changed. They listen to the folks out there, and probably Zephyr Epic, I bet, had a big hand in it. Good folks over there. But you missed your rookie card as well. Luke Phillip for you. Nothing great there. But yeah, they changed the MVP ones. They're a lot more fun. They got these cool these inserts now. They're a little bit more fun. I like these cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tristan Nielsen's going to join us at 1:45, by the way, to talk about the Abbotsford Canucks. They had a hot start over the weekend. A pair of wins in Laval. They got their home opener. Tickets still available, but they're going quick at the Abbotsford Center. Tristan Nielsen, the dog father, he's going to join us at 1:45, so I'm excited about that.
Going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of fun.
Yeah, what's fun?
Now's as good a time as any to tell people about the Wendy's Daily Faceoff Survivor Pool game.
Okay.
I would say. Wendy's and Daily Faceoff have developed a fantasy game. The game lives weekly on dailyfaceoff.com with weekly prizes and a season-long prize of $5,000 up for grabs. It's simple. Sign up, play, and then get free stuff on the Wendy's app. That breakfast baconator. I love it. I'm a huge breakfast baconator guy. You pick a prop that will happen in a game, and the longer you survive with correct answers, the more you can win from Wendy's. Check it out soon over on dailyfaceoff.com.
You get the prop, you bet some bets, who gets the hits, who gets the stuff, and whoever survivors, like whoever the survivor of the week is,
yeah,
they're going to get big prizes, but everyone wins. And I think when they launch this, pretty soon here when they launch, I heard rumor on the street, first week you get a free bacon a
breakfast baconator.
No. First week you get a free barbecue bacon cheeseburger, and you know what that burger's got on it? I think potentially my favorite topping on a burger. First is it has to be bacon, right? Mm-hmm. Bacon's the best topping for a burger. Number two, those little crispy onions. You know what I'm talking about? The little onions. Yes. There it is, right here.
Look at Aaron go.
Look at the crispy onions on top. That's my favorite topping because I used to work at A&W back in the day. I put the onion rings on the burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And now all these places like Wendy's, they got
the
crispy onions. I think that's the best topping on a burger because it adds a crunch. It adds a little bit. And I don't like onions. I only like them when they're crispy or when they're cooked for a long time.
I like onion rings. Do you not like onion rings?
Not a big fan.
Okay.
Not a huge fan.
Okay. Let's move on. The Vancouver Canucks are in Tampa tonight. Elias Pettersson, although he missed practice on Wednesday, a little banged up. We saw him take that shot block from Tyler Myers. He wore Tyler Myers' slapper that looked like it was going about 18 feet wide of the net. PD missed practice yesterday. Going to be in the lineup tonight, along with Thatcher Demko back between the pipes. Demko also wasn't on the ice on Wednesday. But my question for you, Chris, is how excited are you to watch Tyler Myers and Noah Juulsen in a lineup together? Because it looks like that's going to happen.
Well,
again.
We'll have to see. Friedman's going to take warm up today, so we'll have to see.
Game time decision on the premise of he needs to learn the system.
Yeah, still. Exactly. But I'll tell you what, we'll see how the other players are operating in the system. Maybe it doesn't matter if you know it or not, Friedman. I think I'd like to see him get in. And you mentioned it, Stamkos coming back. He's going to be back in the lineup. It sounds like. I know he's a game time decision as well, but Tampa's going to be hungry, right? They're still a good team. I know they're missing some players and all these things that they ain't got. Like, they got some injuries. Obviously, missing Vasilevsky's huge, a guy who's a Vezina finalist pretty much since he came into the NHL. But Tampa's also on a 3-game losing streak.
Two pretty garbage teams.
Yeah, Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, and they were outscored 14-8 in those 3 games. So they're going to be hungry. They got the home ice advantage. And like I said, if Stamkos is coming back in the lineup, that's going to be huge. They're also missing Tyler Mott, who a lot of Canucks fans were probably excited to see, just because he's just a great guy. Tyler Mott's just a great guy, but he's not going to be in the lineup. He's got a hand injury. And I think did I see Murph tweeting about he saw him? Yes, he ran into him on the street.
Said hello to him.
I wonder how many people in Tampa Bay recognize a hockey player on the street.
That's a very good question.
They won back-to-back cups. I feel like they got to have the fan base must you would recognize Steven Stamkos or Victor Hedman. He's a monster.
I'm going to guess Tyler Mott flies pretty under the radar.
I'm going to guess that Tyler Mott doesn't get recognized that often. The fact he didn't win in those cups either, but Murph ran into him, so that's good. I'm very happy to hear that Elias Pettersson's coming back into the lineup. That's going to be that would have been a massive loss if he wasn't into the lineup. And took a day off yesterday. That's fine. I know they did 14 players on the ice today for their morning skate, but it's more about getting back to that structure. We talked about it, man. This is a big statement game for the Vancouver Canucks. I've seen the word must win thrown around a couple times on Twitter. I don't know if it's a joke or what it is, but certain people are saying that already. I just think it's a statement game, right? This is a statement that can be a positive one or a negative one for the Vancouver Canucks. And you would hope that it's a positive one, just kind of the way that the coaching staff at least reacted. And I'm talking about Rick talking the post-game availability on Tuesday. They got to play a lot better, man. There's a lot of players that need to play a lot better. And this Tampa team, though they're missing a couple of their top guys, they just know how to win, right? They know how to win. They've won cups. They know how to get into the playoffs every year, even if there are certain things dragging them down. And that's something we haven't seen from the Vancouver Canucks over the past couple of years. So you're playing up against a very good opponent in this game. And I think it's going to be a big test for this team to get back to what they did so well in those first 2 games. And I know Harmon even talked about it yesterday, but even that second game against the Oilers, though that they were completely outshot, it felt like they weren't out of that game. It felt like the Flyers game, they were out of it. They were just out of the game, it felt like, especially the way the second period went. It was a similar second period in that Saturday night game against the Oilers, where they just completely get outshot. Looks like they're going to lose the game, but they're able to kind of clean it up there a little bit. And I just think in the end, you got to get back to what you did well in those first 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I liked what Tocchet said. If you go over to Canucks Army, you can see scenes from morning skate right now. Tocchet spoke about
he's an honest guy, man.
He's an honest guy. About him. Talked about laying off a little bit and just saying the guys are kind of working it out amongst themselves. Talked about 3 guys by the computer. I think he meant iPad, but he called it the computer, like my no does.
Could have been a computer.
I don't think it was a computer.
You can bring
on the ice. You think they're busting out the laptops?
Why not?
I'm pretty sure they use iPads. That's why.
Well, they use iPads, but I've seen a computer around the rink too. I've seen one around the rink. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to our guest.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible. Let's get to our guest, Tristen Nielsen of the Abbotsford Canucks. Tristen, you ever seen a laptop around the rink?
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is definitely a thing.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah. Listen to the hockey player, Quads, not you.
Yeah, but if it's an on-ice thing, it would probably be an iPad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, you're not onto it here.
Whatever.
Tristen, hell of a start for you guys over the weekend there. A couple of wins over in Laval. How did it feel to kind of get the season started on the road in a spot that you guys don't play often in the season?
It was actually kind of nice. I mean, starting the first kind of road trip of the year is always fun. I mean, you get to know the guys a little bit better and kind of get that chemistry going. And obviously for our first 2 games coming out with 4 points is huge.
For chemistry, you're building it on that line with Vasily Podkolzin and Sheldon Dries. We've seen Dries rip up this league in past years. We've also seen Vasily have good times in the NHL. What are you trying to do on that trio now? You're in a spot right now playing top line with the Abbotsford Canucks.
I think I just trying to kind of play my game and not stray from it. Trying to get in on the pucks, obviously, and be physical and kind of get them the puck. I know is they'll give the puck back to me, which is always nice, but they're definitely a skilled group and they have high expectations. I mean, they were both in the NHL for the most part last year, so they want to get right back to it. So they're kind of out there to dominate and try to get goals and win the game. So I just kind of have to play my game and play to their standard.
Looks like you guys are going to have 2 good goaltenders out there again. What's your first impression been of Nikita Tolopilo?
Man, he played amazing. He had a really, really good game. I was actually really impressed how calm he was, and the timing of his big saves were huge for us.
Tristan, I got to ask about one of your goal celebrations I saw from your hat trick on Saturday. I don't know if you knew I was going to ask you about this, but there was a lady up in the stand. You were giving it to her with the celebration a little bit, banging on the glass there. Do you remember anything from that, or was that just heat of the moment thing?
Well, I remember looking into the crowd, and like usually it's like when you're in an away rink, it's people are like more mad, so you like rub it in a little bit more, and it makes it more fun. But when I rewatch it, she was actually like cheering, of like kind of like happy. So I was like
It definitely made for a good moment. I'm sure you guys are excited for those moments at the Abbotsford Center, which starts with the home opener on Friday. How much are you guys looking forward to it? Because from talking to people around the team and some players as well, like there's a lot of good vibes about what you guys have and can put on the ice on a nightly basis. How excited are you to get it going at home on Friday?
Very excited. I mean, obviously, I think we have a really phenomenal fan base, and every time you get to play at home, it's exciting. I think we just got to get back to kind of where we left last year, and that's that when you come into our rink, it's hard. It's hard for you guys to win. So we usually play well. I mean, a lot of it comes from our fans and the atmosphere in the building, but I just think it comes with preparation as well. And it's going to be a fun year, and I'm really looking forward to the start of it this week, or the kind of home stretches.
What do you make of the way your year ended last year as a group? Does it kind of feel like there's unfinished business for this team?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely happy. I mean, making playoffs and everything, but I think you always want to go farther than you did. And I think with our work ethic and how we played against Calgary, I think we deserved a little bit more, but I mean, they had a hell of a team as well. So this year it's kind of going to be like that redemption thing. I feel like we have a lot more different faces and stuff, and it's a way younger team, but I'm also very excited because I'm pretty sure their team's pretty similar to last year. So it'll be fun to get that rivalry back right to where it was, I guess.
I was talking to Jack Rathbone yesterday on his way out, and he was saying that he does feel bad leaving this team because you guys are such an absolute wagon heading into the season. Those are his exact words about it. And I guess, like, how different is the feeling after getting into the playoffs last year? Like, I have to feel the confidence just growing with this group. And like you said, like it feels like this team improved. So I guess my question would be, like, what are you guys feeling more confident in this year than maybe last year?
I think one like really big thing we have this year going for us is like we're all young people competing every day. So whether it's practice or anything, I mean, everyone here wants to finish in the NHL, and I think everyone's young enough that they're going to have a chance. I mean, everyone here is considered a prospect. So it's like that kind of compete level that we're going to have practice can be an advantage. And I think going on to like into games, everyone's going to try to be at their best every single game because they want to prove to the organization, but also to the staff, and they want to get a more opportunity and more everything. I think whether it's PK, power play, or anything, I think everyone's just competing against everyone, and it's healthy because we have such a good tight-knit group of guys, and it makes it more fun going to the rink and competing, knowing that your buddy's not going to be mad at you or whatever, he's going to be excited because he's like, you're pushing me and I'm pushing you.
Yeah, and it's funny because I heard a lot of people like asking, Atu Ratu is one of the top prospects in the Canucks organization. Like, he's on the fourth line, and I was kind of like trying to explain to people on Twitter, like, you guys' pairings, your lines, like, it doesn't feel like there's a 1-4. Like, you guys feel confident throughout the whole lineup, I have to assume.
I would say that fourth line probably plays against every other team's number one line. Like,
yeah,
it's I mean, John Stevens and Chase Waters are not fourth liners. Like, they're two of the hardest working guys probably in the league. And I mean, they're both like defensive specialists. Like, that's going to be their job. Like, Rats is playing on a line that's going to prepare him to realistically go against top line, which would be like probably 4 third liners in the NHL. And he's going to be going against them every game. And I think that's going to develop his game even more.
Tristan, with your game, I'm curious to see, now that you have the NHL contract, that's obviously got to be a big goal for you, just to get to the NHL, play those opportunities. Is there a part of your game that you're looking to not necessarily like improve on, but almost perfect at the AHL level so that you're ready for that call up and you know that there's a role that you can play at the NHL level?
Yeah, I wanna really dial in my habits more than anything. Just like getting pucks in, getting pucks out kind of thing on the blue lines, and just like all those like really important things that you move up to the next level. But I really want to dial in my confidence, and just like every game I want to be consistently good, and I want to do the same stuff every day. I want to just like kind of create that total game for myself that I kind of worked towards last year. I mean, I had ups and downs, and now it's just all about making that consistent. And I think as long as I can do that, I definitely feel comfortable saying that, like, I'll get my opportunity and I'll make the most of it.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask about Danila Klimovich, who came here and joined the team actually at the same time you did a couple of years ago in Abbotsford. First of all, how much better is his English after being here in North America for a couple of years compared to what it was when you met him on day one?
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot better. It's always funny seeing Europeans when you say something new to them and they just don't understand and they're like struggling because they like want to say what they think it is, but they don't know how to say it. But he's improved phenomenally. Even like from the first year to last year was a big jump. And then I trained with him all summer, so I saw him for most of summer. So I kind of was always shooting it with him, and his English is getting way better.
Tristan, with the development staff, it's something that we hear about so often out there in Abbotsford. And, I've seen the Sedins on the ice with you guys a lot. Gary Agnew, I've heard a lot of players talk about being a big influence as well, and Ulmer as well. But I guess what I wanted to ask you is, like, what has it been like for you working with an NHL organization, and more specifically the development staff? Because a lot of us hear about development staff and we're like, oh, we're excited to hear that the bodies are out there. But what are some of the things, whether it's like day to day, week to week, month to month, the whole season long, that you're taking away from working with this development staff?
I mean, I think every staff member has something different to kind of provide. The Sedins were so smart, like just like two very high IQ NHLers, and they kind of like taught you how to, whether it was like, I don't know, for me anyways, they've taught me like how to play a 2-on-1 better. Like different things you can do with that. And then they taught me like when you're in the O zone, like maybe pick someone, and then when you pick them, jump to the inside. And just like little role plays like that. And then they actually will go 2-on-2 against, like they went to, I remember, I think it was last year, I think it was me and Waddy, but they went 2-on-2 against us, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like it was like we couldn't get to the puck, and because they kept picking us, it was like the weirdest thing. And then I mean, you just work on those things, but then like even with Higgins, like he's really hard on the stick battles. So he just like will teach you different ways. And then it's just like, it depends on who you talk to, kind of teaches you different things. And I just think it's nice having like all those different kind of eyes and ears. And like, it's not like they're forcing things on you. They're not like, this is how you need to do it. It's like, hey, this worked for me. It might not work for you, but they give you that option to try it and then see if it works for you.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to ask a little bit about, because I heard from some people around the team that Nikita Tolopilo is actually one of the funnier guys in the room. I don't know if he's still so quiet yet. I've heard he's got to come out of his shell. I've also heard the same things about Archer Seelovs, but I got to ask, who has the most jokers per 60 out of the forwards, the defensemen, and the goalies? Who's leading the charge there on that analytics stat?
Oh, I don't know. I think we got a lot of funny guys. I think it just like depends on the day and depends on humor more than anything. I mean, Bainesy's got really dry sense of humor, but it's hilarious. And he just like will say something with the straightest face, and you just like can't take him serious at all. But then like there's other guys with like one-liners. Like I always find like Matty Irwin's got some funny one-liners. Artie and Tolo always seem like they're in good moods and they're always laughing. So I'd imagine for the most part they're saying stuff. I mean, those Russian guys, they're always talking in Russian and laughing. So I think it just depends on your sense of humor, really.
Well, Tristan, I'm going to turn you into a salesman here a little bit. You guys got your home opener on Friday, and this will be our final question for you. We'll let you go on this one. For folks that have not come out to the Abbotsford Center and seen a game, I'm sure they've watched hockey games before, but how different is it to go out there and watch this Abbotsford Canucks team, and what can you promise that fans will see if they come to the arena on Friday?
I learned in the hockey world you can't promise much because everything's different. But no, I just think you're going to get a chance to see some of the future Canucks. I mean, we got a lot of young guys, and we're not the oldest team, but you're going to see a lot of speed and skill, and you're going to see guys giving it everything they got to make it to the next level. So
sounds like a promise to me, Tristan. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you taking the time today. We'll see you out there on Friday. Best of luck, and we'll see some more hat tricks hopefully as the season goes on, man.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Tristan Nielsen, joining us there from the Abbotsford Canucks. He joined us in the summer, I think, too, after signing the deal, right?
Yeah.
A couple times now on the show.
A lot of people in the YouTube live chat, which we'll get to later in the Anyone Else segment, a lot of people pointed out that they'd never heard him talk before and that he's a very well-spoken, and Aaron just said it in our private little chat here. He said he was awesome, very well-spoken. Have to agree. So thanks to Tristan Nielsen for joining us.
Yeah, he's a great guest. The dog father as well.
The dog father. Does he know about that? Like, you've told him about? I've told him about that. Right?
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think we've done it live on the show, but I have told him in the past about the dog father thing.
And for those that don't know on the podcast, a lot of new listeners or the YouTube live show, he was the inspiration behind the dog rating. You made it at Young Stars 2022, correct? Not the most recent one, the one year prior.
Well, I started it in 2019.
Did you? How do I not know this?
No, I started trying to create a formula to measure the dog in a player in 2019.
Oh, that's right.
Before I even knew you. Actually, it might have been 2018. But I love that. It took a long time for that to come to fruition. Then I had the formula that I felt comfortable with, but I didn't have a name for it. And I was sitting there with Harmon at the Young Stars tournament. I said, geez, like everything that Tristan Nielsen is doing right now at that Young Stars tournament is great. He's got that dog in him every single time. And I was like, hey, that's the formula's name right there, the dog rating. So that's where the names come from anyways.
I love it. Our thanks again to Tristan Nielsen for joining the show.
Let's go chat a little bit more about the Abbotsford home opener. It's going to be on Friday. Archer Seelovs should still be the starter, but Quads, I'm telling you, I don't know how much you got to watch of Abbotsford over the weekend. I know you edited some articles with a lot of clips in it, but Tolopilo, and Nielsen talked about it, like this guy's no joke, man. This Nikita Tolopilo kid is going to get some starts this year, and he had a very good start in Laval. I mean, he outperformed Seelovs in the opening weekend, but I still expect Seelovs to be the guy getting the starter. There's obviously a lot of investment from the organization into what Seelovs can do and do at the next level as well. He's still so young. He's going to get that opportunity, but Tolopilo is no slouch. Coming out of the Allsvenskan, man, you got to watch for this goal. He's going to get a game this weekend, I think. And I think that it might be at that point where, we were expecting to see a ton of Seelovs starts this year. I know it's just one game in. Tolopilo is going to take some away. It's not going to be. Yeah,
I don't think splitting starts is a bad thing, though, especially in the A. We've talked about the schedule.
No, and I think you'll get those midweek games where like Seelovs will get the start.
Yeah.
Right? You'll get those and he'll have more starts by the end of the year. But if Tolopilo plays well, he is going to challenge for some of those starts for sure.
Signing Tolopilo as a European free agent was a huge deal for this team to actually be able to get it done.
He was the best, you get, like I said it before, you got Kuzmenko that 1 year out of Europe as the top free agent. You got the top goaltending free agent here out of Europe.
Yeah, exactly. And him being on the younger side,
above everyone.
Him being on the younger side, he kind of falls into that conversation of guys like Cole McWard, Akito Hirose, the NCAA free agents. Like he's younger than Akito Hirose.
Yeah, and he's younger than like Aiden McDonough.
Yeah, exactly.
On that team and players like that.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for this team to be able to kind of add that to the goaltending pipeline. This is a prospect that they believe in quite a bit. And yeah, sure, he's a little bit on the older side, but he led the Allsvenskan in save percentage last year. Like that's a men's league.
Not just that,
in save percentage.
Goals against, shutouts.
Exactly.
He led the league in everything.
He led the way.
Goaltending perspective.
Yeah.
The other boost that they're going to have, like they're going to lose Jack Rathbone. We've already talked about the trade a little bit over the past week here. But they lost Jack Rathbone. They are going to slot in Akito Hirose, who got sent down just the other day. He's going to be in the lineup, and I expect I would like to see him play with Cole McWard. Right? Can we get the lineup up here a little bit? This is just the lineup from Saturday. And I've already made I made one little change. I took Rathbone out and put Hirose in. And like I said, it's not really about like when I tweeted out this lineup, it's like, hey, everyone's getting mad because Ratu's on the fourth line. It was exactly like, Nielsen said it best. Like, that's not a fourth line, right? Like this lineup here, pretty much all four of these lines feel like top six lines in the AHL. So we'll have to see how that goes. I wouldn't worry about Ratu being in the fourth line in this specific spot. And the same thing with Hirose on the third pairing. Like, man, that defense core is so good in the AHL. Like the worst guy on that defense core, probably Philip Johansson, who's like a prospect who's coming over and learning the North American game. And I thought he played well over the weekend, actually. He's got a really good shot, like a really good shot of that group. But you're talking about like 5 of the 6 guys being guys that you really, really trust as like a top 4 defenseman in the AHL. This team is a wagon. It's like I texted with Rathbone yesterday. He was saying like, he felt kind of bad leaving this team because he gets he's going to miss the opportunities to see the special stuff that's going to happen in Abbotsford this year with this team.
I thought Nielsen's answer about Ratu was very thoughtful. Probably his most thoughtful in that interview. And I think, hey, like I know what I'm writing in the show article.
There's a future in Tristan Nielsen's broadcasting career. Sometimes you talk to these players, we get like a 2-sentence answer. There's a couple. He had a good 45-second run a little bit. Aaron's going to have some clips to work with. Right, Aaron?
Aaron's stoked about
Aaron's
that.
pumped. He's going to get some clips.
Okay, let's shift back. Let's shift back to the Vancouver Canucks.
No. A couple more things before Abbotsford.
Maurice.
Arshdeep Bains. It's not.
Okay.
It's not Maurice.
Yeah.
Arshdeep Bains looked excellent, gaining a step. Danilo Klinovic, he had a rough weekend. We'll see if he can bounce back. Jet Wu. Watch him, man. If you get an opportunity to watch, I know people got the free AHL package last week, but if you're out in Abbotsford, Jet Wu, they're going to love him out there. And finally, I did want to do one last prospect thing before we get back to the Vancouver Canucks. Another Jonathan Lekkerimäki goal, baby. He's up to 6 goals in 11 games, tied for the SHL lead in goals now. So he continues to have a hot start. Look good for Orbro. We'll talk more about Orbro in our Betway Bet of the Day a little bit later on here, but you want to get back to the Vancouver Canucks a little bit.
Yeah, I want to hear your take.
Okay.
Because Tocchet was very upset with his team. After the win in Edmonton, Tocchet was pissed off. And then he was more pissed off after the loss in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Heading into today, he seemed a little less pissed off because of the work the guys got done in practice.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting tonight from this team? Like, are you expecting a bounce back? Because for me, this is going to be a Tampa team that's going to be coming out hard. They won their home opener, lost 3 straight to Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, and now they're back at home. They're going to be wanting to get the win for their home fans. And I think this is going to be a good test for this team to, it's their first opportunity to not go on a losing streak this year.
No, I mean, like, you don't ever want to, like, the Tampa Bay team doesn't lose 4 games in a row very often, right? There's a reason why they don't lose 4 games very often. It's because they know how to beat teams that are worse than them in a regular season situation. And that's the way that you can probably look at this. Like, let's be honest, the Tampa Bay Lightning lineup is still very strong. They're missing Vasilevsky, which is a huge piece. Don't get me wrong. But, Braden Point's top tier. Nikita Kucherov is top tier. These are some of the best players in the NHL. And they're going to be good. They're going to be very good. They're going to have that ability to, like we talked about this past week, they have the ability to outskill the Vancouver Canucks. As much as there's so much skill on this Canucks team, the Lightning is one of those teams that we brought up as an example the other day. They can be better if they just want to do a boat race, skill versus skill, and run up the score against you guys. The Lightning are a better team than the Canucks in that way. The way that the Canucks can beat this team is playing their structure better than the Lightning play their structure. It's 2 different styles of hockey you're going to see these teams want to play, and which team is going to be able to pull that rope and be a little bit stronger into what they want the game to play out like. And if the Canucks can do that tonight, they'll win. If they can play the way that Rick Tocchet has talked about and is expecting from his players after some really tough practices, they'll win this game. If they don't and they fall into the trap of letting Tampa have the game be played out the way they want, they'll lose this game. And that's just the way I see it going on tonight. So I'm looking at some of the Canucks' top stars and saying, these are the nights that you need to make a statement game about this team being different than it has over the past couple years.
We're seeing a phenomenon, and I think it was Friedman that wrote about this, where this season teams are they're being very quick to call out their guys and make their guys not embarrassed, but like to publicly call them out. Like, we went for 82 game seasons where the team was dog water, and we had Travis Green, all the love to Travis, but would come out and say, like, that's a good team over there. I liked some things about our game. I liked the way we compete. And look, all the love to Travis, but that seems to just be gone league wide. And I'm trying to wrap my head around why that is. But in Columbus, Damon Severson, big acquisition in the offseason. He's a healthy scratch. Like, they're healthy scratching this guy who's a big acquisition for their team in Columbus. And Mike Babcock's not the coach anymore. And this is still happening. So we see Tocchet in Vancouver calling out his guys very, very early on. I wonder how much of it is just like, and it's probably a minor thing, but I feel like it has to contribute to it in some regard. Every team is capped out to the point that they can't call anybody up.
Yeah.
Like, if you're underperforming, the team can't even threaten you with, hey, you're going to get sent down. We're going to give this shot to this guy in Abbotsford or in the AHL. They can't threaten that right now because, like, 14 of the 32 teams in the league can't call a player up from the minors right now. So I just wonder if there's, that threat being gone. They're like, okay, well, we're going to have to do it through the media, which I love. I think it's awesome.
Good for us, yeah.
It's good for us.
Some comments here that I want to get to. Kurt's got a couple of good ones. This is from Kurt Richardson over on YouTube. Love what Tocchet said. No BS from him. We are in no position to let anything slide. Also, Kurt said something about Ian Cole. Ian mentioned Ian Cole, like we talked about on the show last couple of days here, we really like what Ian Cole is going to bring to the locker room, and the stuff he's done on the ice, I think, has been pretty effective so far this season in his role. But what Kurt brings up here is Cole was talking about how good teams don't lose multiple games in a row. They can fix stuff quick, and that's very important, right? That's very important about this team, is when they can find out what's wrong. And listen, there's a lot of the coach speak that I think goes over a lot of people's heads, but Rick Tocchet's been talking about in the media, right? Like, there are certain things that your forecheck needs to do, or the way that you defend a neutral zone needs to be in the right position. If they are able to execute all those things, yes, you want to fix it quick, but it's more about like that being the consistent thing moving forward. It's not just a quick fix. It's a fix that needs to happen quickly, but also last a long time, right? Like, that's the thing you need to buy into at this point with this team. So
it's about
I'm
building
excited.
The consistency. That's what Tocchet said this morning. Build the consistency.
And I'm excited for what they do tonight. Like, I think this is a game where you can really bring the spirits up of everybody watching this team, following this team, covering this team. It's a very good game to set up the positive vibe train again. Like, that's what I can see from tonight's game. But a letdown would sure look bad. And then you have a couple games left on the road trip, and you're starting to get worried about what this road trip, record is going to end up looking like. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens here.
You know who'll never let you down? DoorDash.
Ding dong.
Let's get to it a little early. It's time for Anyone Else, presented by DoorDash. Yep. It's our listeners' chance to get involved and hit us up in the YouTube live chat. And it's also our listeners' chance to get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more.
Where's that graphic?
That's right. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25, all capital letters there. That's 25% off, up to $10 in value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code NATION25. That's code NATION25 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms apply. Don't worry about cooking dinner or running to the store. Let it all come to you with DoorDash, just like we're going to let these comments in the YouTube live chat come to us.
Yeah, get your comments in. You didn't explain the segment at all, people.
People know what it is.
No,
we've been doing it for like 3 days now.
No, but there's new people in the chat every day. Like,
okay, you explain it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Get your Anyone Else's in. Any topic you want us to talk about, any question you want answered.
Drive the conversation to close out the show.
Yeah, yesterday Harmon was we were asked about some people in Canucks media or like kind of outside of the reporters that we like.
I was there. You left Zachary Wilson in the chat, certified good guy.
I only didn't answer his question. Stuff.
Yeah, after I was in there pressuring you.
Yeah, Sam Ross asked, how far off from the NHL is Jet Wu? I don't think he's very far off at all. And I think that because of the way that we've seen Noah Juleson play, I don't think Jet Wu is that far away from getting a call-up. I thought Jet Wu was better than Cole McWard over the weekend in the AHL. I think that Wu is the top right shot defenseman in Abbotsford right now, and I think he is going to play NHL games this year. I do not see him being that far off at all from being an NHL player. I don't think he is at the point right now where I'm feeling confident he's going to have a solid NHL career. But all the stuff he did last year, all the stuff he's done early on in this season at this point, the way I thought he looked pretty decent in training camp, the way he was moving the puck, I think he's added a little bit of pace to his game and some of that strength. I think he's very close to being an NHL player.
Got a contribution here from Ty David. Thank you for your contribution, Ty. I'm sorry I have to put you on blast. But he said, is the Vancouver media overreacting to the Philly loss? Tough travel against a determined team in their home open. What's with the excuses? Why? Why are we making excuses for this team 3 games into the season? And a lot of people in the chat kind of went back at Ty. Ty, thanks for listening to the show. But why are we making excuses for this team? The head coach is calling them out. Is the head coach overreacting? I don't think so. I don't think the media is over. I don't think any fan that watches that performance where the team, all of their bad habits that we've seen for the past number of years, rear its ugly head. The goaltender has to play lights out for them to even have a chance. That's a blowout loss if you don't have Thatcher Demko standing on his head in net. Seeing that rear its ugly head is not an overreaction. Being upset that you had to see that, 3 p.m., people left work to see this. People left work early to see the Canucks do that.
Kids had to walk home from school.
Kids had to walk home from school, uphill, both ways.
In the snow.
In the snow to see that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an overreaction. I think I'm talking very loudly right now, and maybe that's a bit of an overreaction to the comment, which is a pretty innocuous comment. But No excuses. This has to be the season where the bar is raised in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It has to be.
It's not about wins and losses in the end either this season, man. This is about changing the way that this organization's players operate. Right?
If you lose to a good team and you're doing all the right things, you're doing all the right things.
You can see that tonight. We could come in here tomorrow morning, or you show up in the afternoon. You show up 20 minutes before the show started today. But we could show up tomorrow and there could be a loss. We could be having a lot of positive takeaways.
And that's the thing, Chris, is the team still...
That hasn't happened with this group. There's no losses that are like positive takeaways. You can have that as an NHL team. We just have not seen it from this group of players.
That's the thing. I love that you said wins and losses don't matter, because that's the thing. They won in Edmonton that second game.
Sure.
Why was Tocchet yelling at the players, telling them to earn their effing ice time the next day in practice? If, when they won, they lost, we're only reacting to if they win or lose. No, it's the habits. It's all the things that we just talked about and the things that Tocchet and this management regime have been talking about all offseason. It's time to raise the bar. Yep. This team's not rebuilding. Stop coddling these players. The players themselves have been saying, stop coddling us. Like, Thatcher Demko came out and said, it's time for this core to do something. Okay, it's time. The core, everybody except for Demko, this is Tocchet saying this, played poorly in Philadelphia. That can't happen. That just can't happen.
Agree.
And they weren't even at the bank.
No notes.
All the teams walking into the bank right now. Oh my gosh. Citizens Bank Park, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay, what are we talking about here?
I'm just saying.
No, let's get a couple more.
We're at the Wells Fargo
Hell
Center.
of a
You
shot
don't even
says,
have to compete with a crowd there.
From Hell of a Shot, Canucks fans, would you like to see Zach McEwen picked up from the Sens for his toughness on waivers today?
No.
I like Big Mac Zach, but
I like him too, but do you
not really a bottom line.
Yeah, where's he
the
going to fit
toughness
here?
For sure. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the toughest guys in the league, but you got to be able to play and do some other things as well. Kurt says Hunter B, prospect of the week ×2. Yep, my hits just carry surprise for you. Prospect of the week, Hunter Brustevich, back to back prospects of the week for me, and Dave Hall, who's doing a great job covering those prospects. What about Jonathan Lekarmaki's 5-on-5 play? I'll go back and watch it because I was watching Lucas Forsell today, but I've loved the way that Lekaramaki, though he doesn't have the size to back it up, he's playing with some confidence on the boards. He's doing a lot more better things at 5-on-5. The defensive game has looked better.
I'm just getting to the comments here. G. Ellis just puts in the chat, Travis sucked. Travis Green. Lot of really good contributions. And folks, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you're notified when we go live at 1:30 every day, except for Wednesdays when we're on at 1 p.m.
When somebody calls for the likes, I watch the number. I'm watching it right now. You call for the likes, the number starts to go up. Appreciate everyone on the YouTube channel. Helps get more people involved here and get more people in the chat. I like that.
There are a lot of people in the chat here. I'm trying to get everybody's in. There's a lot here. Any injury updates? No, not really.
No,
like
Pettersson's gonna come.
Yeah, Pettersson's in. Yeah, I said it at the start of the show.
Nothing about Bluger, nothing about Mikheyev.
Yeah.
None of that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. There's just so many in here, and I just want to try and get it in here. Someone said, settle down, Quad, stop yelling at us. Yes, my apologies. And Cody said,
this name
shout Drelly.
I don't see him in there. But I see an empty name here. Says, how's Forsell feeling after the shot block? You know what? I think we might have Forsell on the show on Monday. We'll ask him how he's bruised up.
Right on.
He's got a game on the weekend. I thought he didn't look great, to be honest, today in his first line role. He's playing in the first line in Farjestad in the SHL. Didn't look like he fit in extremely well. He looked a lot better in the CHL game, the Champions League game they played earlier this week. It wasn't a great night for him. And listen, they can't all be good nights. Still 20-year-old kid.
They can't all be Picassos.
They can't all be Picassos. That's what I said.
This was a really good contribution that I wanted to get in here.
Okay.
From Kurt Richardson. He said
Kurt's been on it. Kurt's got good ones.
Another thing Tocchet said, let's have these talks now so at game 50, we don't got to have these conversations anymore. It truly is about the process.
Oh.
Nothing changes in a night. And I think that's it. I think that's what it comes down to is, look, home opener, guys were buzzing. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, the structure. Like, look at the structure accountability habits that this team is showing. All the new season ticket holders were like, wow, that ad was right. Structure, habits, accountability. That's what I signed up for. That's what I saw. 8-1 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. How you doing, Aaron? Second game.
Poor Aaron.
Second game in Edmonton. They eke out the win, but it's less pretty, right? Like, that's why Tocchet was mad, was you were starting to see some of those habits. And then Tuesday, the wheels just fell off. Tuesday, they didn't show up. It was like watching the teams that we've seen in recent years. The team that during his second game, or following his second game behind the bench, Talking had to get calmed down outside Vancouver when they arrived from Seattle. His coaching staff, we have, that was on Frankly Speaking, that podcast. Talkett was very incensed after that loss to the Kraken. And you saw a lot of those habits that we've seen in recent years from this team just kind of pop back up. And I think that's what I really liked about what Talkett did was it wasn't just, okay, let's fix this behind closed doors. It's no, everybody should know that we're not happy about this.
Right.
And it needs to get back on the rails immediately. And that's the message from Talkett. And I think if you're a Canucks fan who's labored through these years recently, you're very happy to see that from the head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get the Canucks stats up quickly as we close out here a little bit. We're going to get to Betway in just a minute, but I did want to get the stats up just from some of the top players here. So you're seeing the guys who have put up points here. Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, JT Miller. One of the guys I don't see on this list who I think needs to do something, I think Jeff was saying on Tuesday, Anthony Beauvillier, without a point through 3 games. And I know it's just 3 games. It's not the biggest sample size, but this is a guy who is making $4+ million. There's all this talk about Connor Garland getting traded and what he's worth. You got to get something out of Beauvillier here pretty quick, man. You can't start going like 3 games without a point. That's fine. You don't want to start getting to 4, 5, 6 games without a point for a guy who's, going to be getting time on the second power play unit. He's a winger. You expect to put up some points. He's done it throughout his career. Would like to see something because I don't think Beauvillier is bringing a lot to other parts of the ice, and he's not bringing anything to the offense. So what's he doing, right? There's a reason why he's not playing in third periods for Rick Tocchet. You got to do something, as Jeff would say here on the show, but you got to get something out of Anthony Beauvillier here in the next little bit.
How about Nils Höglander getting out there late in games?
I like that.
That's really good to see.
No, I think tonight would be, we talked about statement games earlier. I look at Nils Höglander to be the guy from the depth that has one of those games. I think Dakota Joshua can have one of those. I think Pius Suter can have one of those. I look at these guys in the lineup that aren't playing consistent top 6 minutes, and I'm thinking, hey, if you want to get into that top 6, like Nils Höglander has an opportunity. He has a good game today. He might be playing alongside Pettersson and Kuzmenko moving forward, or Kuzmenko might be getting moved off that line. Like, Höglander is in a spot right now where if this team isn't doing enough offensively, Höglander might be getting that top 6 chance here pretty soon, and I think he deserves it. I think he's been good. I've really liked a lot of the way that he's forechecked, and he's playing like a little wrecking ball like he does best. So good start for him. There's been some moments, right? There's been some moments where you're like, oh, what are you doing, Niels? Like, these type of little things, but I do think for the most part, I've been pretty impressed with the overall game from Höglander. Not blown away, but impressed. Like he's above expectations for me so far.
Okay, let's get to Betway.
All right. Betway crushed yesterday, by the way. Our Betway bet, what did I tell you? Or, bro, I say it.
I wasn't here yesterday.
Doesn't matter. You were in the chat. It crushed yesterday because what happened? We might just only start doing Betway bets outside of not even North America, just outside the NHL. We might only do SHL and AHL bets moving forward because they are crushing here on the show, but not today. We're going back to the NHL. Spot we haven't been great at in the Betway bets of the day, to be honest. Betway. Here we go. One of these ones. I like these big ones. The people at Betway, they're in my emails saying, "Come on, man, Betway," and that's all it says in the email. And so here's our Betway bet of the day. The Vancouver Canucks to win. Quads over 6.5 total goals in the game between the two teams, and JT Miller. Statement game. Look to your boys like JT Miller to come up and make one of those statements. So I got JT Miller to score a goal in this game, over 6.5 total goals, and the Canucks to win, plus 700 on the odds. $10 bet. That's going to return you $80 if you win. Over on Betway. Betway must be 19 plus to play. And you got to bet the responsible way.
Well done.
Betway.
We'll wrap it up there. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Well,
it's going to be a good game tonight, I think. I think it's going to be a bounce back game.
You know what? The table's absolutely set for it, but the table being
is
set
also
for a bounce back way could also end up being a bad game. And it's hard to call it a trap game because it's not that at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where the bounce back is there, the options there if they can grasp it, and not even, like I said, doesn't take a win. It's just going to take you playing the right way.
Tampa's going to come out flying.
They will. They don't lose 4 in a row
and
often.
The Canucks need to come out flying.
Yep.
To answer. That's what it's going to take.
You got it.
All right. We'll wrap it up there. For my co-host, Chris Faber, and our technical producer, Aaron Bordato, my name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Woo! Canucks Conversation with Quads and Faber. New episodes every weekday, 1:30 across the board, except for Wednesdays, 1 o'clock. We'll see you there live on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. For more information, visit CanucksArmy.com.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?